All right, what a gift. Got a nice cool day at practice. Expecting similar conditions in Green Bay this weekend, so we got to get out there and run around and for the guys to feel it. And went right back to work, and we're excited for this weekend.
You anticipating Bryce, since he was a full participant today, being your starter again?
Bryce had a really good day. We're going to take it each day, try to push it a little bit more. Had a little bit of a modified mode at practice today, but he handled the load. Tomorrow we'll push it again, and we'll make a decision in the next couple of days. But he looked good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What about the other guys on the injury report? Taylor?
Yeah. So Taylor got a good report, and as good as news as we could have. We're going to work through him. He may be available Sunday. We'll have to evaluate him. We were not able to move him around today on the field. We were able to move him around in return to play, but we'll look at him and try to ramp it up a little bit each day, and Friday get a good look to see if he's available. Princely looks like he'll be out right now. It's questionable, but at the same time, it doesn't look like he was able to do much with return to play right now. But again, we'll keep all options open. But that's basically what it looks like.
Ahead of Cade. Is Taylor in better shape than Cade?
Yes. Yes. Probably. Yeah. And Austin's ready to go. Nick Scott did a little bit today. We'll take him day to day, hoping he'll be there on Sunday. But right now, we're not sure exactly where he's going to be at. We have to test it and make sure he's good to go with that groin.
So of that list, you anticipate that Cade and Princely are the two that are most likely to be out on Sunday?
Probably, yes.
Have you given much more consideration about the rushing attack?
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations, and we'll roll that out on Sunday. I don't want to give any tips or tells about what we're doing. But trust both guys to do it, and we had a lot of conversations.
Did the earlier practice, was that a product of the senior leadership, the leadership council?
It was a part of our conversations, but that was something Jeff Brown and I talked about, and really just trying to get, there's a couple of guys, we had a modified practice today, so there was a couple of guys we were able to get a little bit more work just in the mode that we were in. Had we just padded up and gone like a normal day, I don't think those guys would have been able to practice, so it gave us a little bit of flexibility to see some guys out there.
Will you do this going forward, or was this kind of a one-week deal?
We'll take it week to week in this mode and see what the results are, and if we can get legs back and get some guys healthy, I think it could help us.
Dave, you said Bryce is in a modified mode today.
Yeah.
Does that mean that he was taking reps with the ones?
Yeah, he took all the reps today in practice, and we were just smart about what we were asking him to do today, just in the different styles of plays and all that. But he had a good day. We'll keep pushing it a little bit more and see where we're at.
Well, how did Andy Dalton?
Yeah, it was early. It was in the first series of the game, and I can tell he injured his thumb really early in the game. He was a stud. He gutted it out and was able to be out there and allow us to finish the game that way. And just really blew up on him after the game, and we got imaging on it and did our process over the last couple of days. So we got to see where he's at, going into this weekend and make decisions from there.
Did that affect his play at all? Do you know?
Could be. I would imagine it's on his throwing side thumb on his right hand, and I just love when guys he knew this is important for the team, and he wanted to be out there for his guys to be able to give us the rhythm, to give us a chance to do it, to win, and so I just applaud Andy for that, and he gutted it out, and there was a real finding on there. So
was this in any way a re-injury of the thumb injury that occurred in the car accident?
That's not what I was explained. Yeah.
How did Chandler look first day out there?
Chandler looked great. He had a really good week last week in return to play. His progression was exactly as planned, was moving with high speeds, changing direction and all that, and he looked great out there today.
Complicate what you're able to do and what the expectations are when the quarterbacks are kind of uncertain as to their availability.
Yeah, we have to consider that. We have to consider who's out there and what they're capable of doing as we put our game plan together. And, the hope is that we can do as much as possible in the same way that we've been functioning. And that goes into the decision, for Bryce last week, how much can we ask him to do in this game, and didn't feel like, it was time. And this week, as we're evaluating him to see what he can do, just making sure that we have our full complement of plays, to balance out our attack.
Simple question with, I'm sure, a complicated answer. What does it take to slow down Micah Parsons?
got to be aware of where he's at. They do a great job moving him around in different spots. He'll play on either edge. He'll play inside in different ways, either as a 3 technique, and he'll stand up as a spinner at times too. So you just got to be aware of where he's at. You have to have, things to consider with your protection and, helping on the edges. He's a fantastic player. So having that awareness, knowing when we're attacking and how to attack is really important.
Whose responsibility does that fall on? Is that quarterback, offensive line, somebody who's protecting?
It's a combination of the whole group.
Understanding it's very early, but do you have a pretty good feel for Bryce being available based on what you saw today?
I would hope so. He really wants to. Again, we got to be smart and we got to challenge him physically in the next 2 days to make sure that he can do that. So that's why we're still calling it day to day. We do have to, throw some different types of movements and things at him. But he's focused. He's ready. He's into it. I know he wants to go, and so if he can, he will.
If Bryce and Andy can't go, would it be Hendon then?
That's the conversations that we're having right now.
Be able to do the rollouts and a lot of the things y'all do moving around the pocket.
That's all the stuff we have to look at, over the next couple of days.
Back to Cassidy's question about Mike Parsons and the offensive line. This seems like a really bad week to have guys on the O-line banged up. What's the thought process in terms of, it seems like you're weighing, if he can, then good. If he can't, then, what's the plan like in terms of personnel for Green Bay this week?
We have all those conversations. Just got to be aware of where he's at and the types and style of plays that you run wherever he's at.
Is it beneficial to have, and I know you don't know, but to have Chandler potentially available, and you've got a veteran like Austin to roll in there?
Couldn't be a better time for Chandler to step in here and to be back available for us. His window has just opened up. A lot of times you don't want to rush guys back out there. He looked great today. We need him. So it kind of ties up well for us to have that help inside and to have Austin Corbett in here to be able to step in for Cade to do that. It feels like we're going to be able to put our best group out there that we can to give us a chance to win.
Dave, with so many names on that injury report, how unusual is it to have guys who are veterans and guys you're familiar with to plug into those spots?
It's a tribute to the guys working themselves to get back, the athletic training staff doing a great job, being smart about it, using all the information that we have at our disposal with the analytics and also just, the physical therapy and all the things that go into it, and then, the coaches getting these guys prepared in a group that has been working together for a long time. So I do feel a lot of comfort knowing that we have these guys stepping back in who know what to do, know how to do it.
You guys, Dave, your big picture, you guys are 4-4. You're in the graphic that says you guys are in the playoff hunt. This sort of challenging stretch coming up, what can this do to sort of build not just for this season but for the future as these younger players are in these big games throughout the next month?
Probably anticipating my response. We're worried about the Green Bay Packers this week and trying to focus on that game plan, trying to be all hands on deck there. I am aware this is the time of year where not just for the Panthers, but for a lot of the teams around the league who are dealing with different injury issues and finding those combinations of lineups, offense, defense, and special teams, it affects all of us. And, this middle part of the season is really a chance to hone in on your football. We've had a lot of football now, under our belt. And so trying to continue to refine those processes so we know who we are, we have that identity, and to set yourself up for a finish, and these are the types of opportunities that I look at, going to Green Bay, playing an NFC opponent, a really good football team. These are the types of matchups that we need to continue to push our football forward and find out a lot of information about who we are right now.
Trevin Wallace, we didn't
Yeah.
ask about Trevin.
Oh, right, yeah. Trevin did not practice today. He's day-to-day right now. He's got, a possibility of going this weekend as well. Had really good exams coming out of the game and wasn't able to finish the game, but has had really good exams each day, looking stronger and stronger. We're going to try to get him out there in a mode, whether it's tomorrow or Friday, so that he can be available for us if possible.
In terms of picking the guy that wears the green dot, how much thought and process goes into that, and how important is it for the coaching staff to pick the right player that is that guy, that's your quarterback on defense, so to speak?
Yeah, it's really important to have the confidence in the guy giving the information. There's more than just the play call that comes in from the coordinators, from the play caller, myself and Ajero. And you want to know that as you're giving the call in, based on the situation, is it first, second down? Is it third down? What are the sticks? what could be coming based on the personnel that they put in. There's some information that gets passed along, that we like them to get to the rest of the group on top of calling that play. And so there's a level of comfort there knowing we have guys who have done that for us.
Essentially not for everyone. Like, you got to find a guy that can be a take charge guy, right?
Yeah, it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge for guys to be able to get all the rest of the information. At a minimum, let's get the call in, and let's make sure everybody knows what they're doing. And then on top of that, it's also the energy with which it's communicated. I'm excited about this call. I'm excited about this defensive call. I'm excited about this pass or this run, and there's a delivery that does give a vote of confidence to the group as you're up there standing in front of them. Mm-hmm.
When the schedule came out, we talked to you about having the really late bye week. I'm curious, as the season has gone along, how has that affected your planning in maybe a positive way or a negative way? And with all these injuries, not having that opportunity coming up, how much do you have to kind of keep that in the distance?
Yeah, there's pros and cons to that. So we're on a pretty regimented schedule. We play Sundays at 1 o'clock. That's what we do. And your body gets used to that. The preparation through the week, what your Friday, Saturday, Sunday looks like is pretty uniform. So there's a consistency there that I really enjoy, that I like. With that, with the late bye week, it's also important as we have our quarterly leadership council meetings to kind of let's regroup. Where are we at right now? Okay, now let's take our next step. We have to make sure we build in those things because the gift of the bye week is, for the staff at least, we get to do self-scout. We get to dive deep in to what we're doing, what's working, and what we might need to modify. So we've taken advantage of that and kind of had the foresight to plan that out quarterly so that we can dive back in and see what those things are. Who are the guys that are performing for us? What are the concepts that are performing well for us? And take a dive into that. So I know there's pros and cons to that, and we'll be looking forward to that when it comes, but right now we have to, just kind of modify little things, make some tweaks, make sure we're physically strong on Sundays as we just continue to go week after week. But I certainly, I look at the teams and, I think I've mentioned it before, and you look at, the best teams in the league who play on primetime games and the challenge that it is to play on Monday, to play on Thursday, and then you're playing Sunday night, and you're going across the country, or maybe you're starting the season off in, Brazil or Mexico City sometimes, and different things like that. And so there's challenges to it that come with those teams as well. And I'm just really impressed to see some of those teams be able to, weather a lot of that changing of the regimen and the scheduling. I know what a challenge that can be. So I've seen teams do that with a lot of success too.
And then to follow up with Cade and Princely and Brady, of those guys, who is maybe potentially an IR candidate that you have to consider?
Yeah, Brady's was a significant Achilles injury. He had surgery today, and so waiting to hear back to see how that went. So that's definitely one of the candidates, and then the rest of them are all on the table as far as who we might need available. As we look at our roster and the different numbers we have at positions, that's where we may have to make decisions in some other areas where we might be +1. To try to create enough space to have a strong group, in all phases. All right. Thank you.